Thank you all so much for helping this channel reach 2,000 subscribers. Stick around until the end of the video for more info on the Seldom Sad Showdown Tournament series and to get a sneak peek at the first game we'll be playing. In the past years, there was a time where I played fighting games quote-unquote seriously. First with Tekken 7, come home, eat and play Tekken. After checking my students' work, play Tekken. Before going to bed, play Tekken. After waking up, play Tekken. Anyway, you get the idea. I played a bunch of Tekken. At that time, it was the only fighting game I played, and mostly the only game I played. And in spending so much time on this one game, I could certainly see myself improving, and this was quite fun. But I also quickly noticed that not all the time should or could be Tekken time. When I came home from a long day of work and played Tekken, everything about the game started to annoy me. The moves my opponent did, the stupid customizations they would wear, whether they did or didn't skip their intro, basically anything. Soon wins just felt natural and losing got me frustrated, and this frustration led me to a spiral of even more loss. Long story short, limiting myself to one game, whether it be in order to improve, have fun or whatever, limiting myself to just one fighting game doesn't work for me. Playing only one fighting game just seems to burn me out of the game and the genre as a whole. However, I don't want to give up on this genre. So how do I get myself to play more fighting games without getting burned out? Answer was quite simple. Just play more fighting games. After dropping Tekken and taking a long break from fighting games and then coming back to the genre, I went about enjoying the genre a lot differently. I started playing at least 2 fighting games at the same time, Street Fighter V and Granblue Fantasy, then Granblue Fantasy and Darkstalkers or Vampire Savior, then Street Fighter V and Grow Mark of the Wolves, then Melty Blood, and loads of other Fightcade games, and back to Granblue. Verdict, I didn't even nearly reach the same level as I did in Tekken, but not once in this time did I ever get completely burned out of the fighting game genre either. I was able to learn, have fun and keep playing. By starting more and more fighting games and trying to hop in as quick as I could, I was able to work on my fundamentals. By not sticking to just one fighting game, I was able to really feel like I was learning and moving forward in each game because there was so much to learn and apply even at a basic level. Playing all these different fighting games got me out of the rut of being a quote-unquote Tekken player, and now I just play whatever. Pat the Flip wrote a wonderful article on the topic of beginners playing multiple fighting games. And it, like most of his other stuff, is a must-read, but here are some key takeaways. When playing or learning fighting games, there really is no wrong way of going about it. Make sure you have fun and keep at it. And as you keep at it, you'll notice yourself improving. And with deepening your understanding of each game, you'll see what you still need to get better at. Pat talks about playing multiple fighting games as drinking from a fire hose of fighting game knowledge. A rather visceral metaphor. Drinking from this fire hose, you'll be bombarded with fighting game knowledge from all different games. But since you aren't sticking around in any one game for too long, it will slow your pace. This slower pace, however, is a good thing. Sticking to one game, you often see players burning themselves out with all the advanced stuff they want to learn and apply, but just can't immediately get into. However, juggling multiple games, you start to realize what is most important for you to know to have fun and get going and get learning effectively. Hopping around games doesn't mean you can't play any one game more than others. I do really enjoy Granblue and notice myself returning to it a lot, but I'm still a long way from reaching my hours or matches played in that game when comparing it to Tekken. Like I talked about in a previous video, I don't feel like I have found my quote-unquote favorite fighting game yet, or at least not one that fills me with equal dedication to the hardcore Third Strike crowd. However, I don't feel like I need to. Hopping around different games has kept me interested in fighting games as a whole a lot better than tying myself to a certain game has ever done. And unless you're trying to get into EVO and need every second you can spare perfecting your Korean backdashes or your best anti-Ramlethal strats, it might be worthwhile to hop around and just have some fun. Anyway, this now year-long YouTube journey has suddenly saw this channel to over 2,000 subscribers and has blessed me with a blossoming Discord server. This month I want to start the Seldom Sad Showdown quote-unquote random game tournament series. Each month I'll pick a different game to play, I'll make a video on this game, and we'll cap off the month with a tournament to see how quickly each of us was able to get to terms with the game's mechanics, or just how far our fundamentals can carry us. So here is a little sneak peek at the topic of both my next video and the first game for the Seldom Sad Showdown. I hope to see you there.
Capcom presents